So indeed, I feel very happy. Time always moving. No force can stop. So therefore, the past, nobody can make change. So, only possibility is future. Possibility of change is future, not yet come. So in that respect, youth are the key generation who will make future differently. So I am very, very happy meeting with youth. So in order to make change, better future, technology very useful, but sometimes technology bring more disaster. So the technology used by human being. So ultimately, our own way of thinking, technology is our disposal. Whatever way we use technology, either constructive or destructive, up to us. Technology is just an instrument. So now, the happier future is ultimately depend on we human being. So now human being, we have this intelligence, wonderful brain, ability to see long term and a wider perspective. So that's our human brains as the special ability. In some extent, we use that, but then our intelligence, sometimes, causing more problem. I think today's even past history, like Lenin or Hitler, I don't know whether he really intelligent or not. I don't know, but Lenin definitely very intelligent person. But his intelligence used for more negative way to keep his own power like that. So since now technology either used for positive or negative up to us, or another factor. And then human intelligence also, not very sure whether something constructive or destructive. So now, what are the things which bring this technology as well as the sort of human brain more constructive way is warm-heartedness, compassion, sense of respect for others' well-being. That warm-heartedness there, then our intelligence also becoming more constructive, more nice, and the technology also become constructive. So ultimately, it depends on our warm-heartedness. And the individual happiness, family happiness, also, technology, no guarantee. Intelligence, also, or education, also no guarantee. We can see some people very sort of smart, but very unhappy. I think like Lenin, I think very intelligent. You see, lack of sort of compassion. He preferred ruthless suppression. So I don't think he himself, I think always remain out of fear. You see, there was a story, Colonel Gaddafi, night time, you see, he changed place from place because out of fear, like that. So therefore, the intelligence, technology will not bring individual level happiness or joyfulness. And family also, family level also. See, so therefore, the ultimate source to bring happier world and happier individual is warm-heartedness, compassion. So sometimes you see people consider compassion or forgiveness, these are something religious, part of religious practice. So people who have no special interest about religion, they also neglect it, never pay attention about these facts. Now you can ask scientists, healthy mind, something important or not? Then I think a genuine, knowledgeable scientists, they say, healthy mind is very, very important. Healthy mind means peaceful mind. Peace very much related with self-confidence, not blind self-confidence, like I think Lenin or Stalin. Self-confidence there, but blind self-confidence. So, wise self-confidence very much related with compassionate feeling. More compassionate feeling, you can carry your life more transparent, nothing to hide. Clear. So when you carry your life transparent, openly, then you see more people trust you. Like that. That's the basis to create friends. Friendship entirely based on trust. So trust based on if someone show genuine sense of concern of their well-being, then trust comes. Now I would like to to carry interaction way, question and answer, and also some suggestions, some comment, including criticism. Most welcome. Neither. I just consider I'm one of you. We are same human being. Compare you, age differences. I'm 81 years old. You are young. So that's the differences. Otherwise we are same human being. I always consider we are same human being. I never consider I'm something special person or His Holiness Dalai Lama. I never consider that. Like that. Thank you. Then perhaps I think as far as we may call my profession, That's, I'm student of Buddhist philosophy. And to those people who do not know, then I can be teacher. Then you see some top scholars, you see, I also, you see, receiving teaching from some top scholars. So in that case, I'm a student, like that.
Tôi nghĩ tôi là
I think actually, as a human being, I think daily, each day, we are learning some new things, new experience. So I think it is far better consider oneself as a student to learning. That's much better. A person feel, oh, I'm a scholar, nothing to learn. Then I think remain the same level, no progress. So consider, we are this intelligence, is have the ability also to learn more till our last day. That's much better. Okay, now your question. The real, I feel, you see, real purpose of Panchaparamita Sutra sort of teaching is, you see, try to striking our destructive emotion, such as anger. Although practice or special pay attention about practice of love or kindness, also you see there's some effect on anger.
So this is active, right?
But the more effective way is analyze the very basis of anger is kasada. The ignorance, distorted ignorance. You see, that ignorance is the only sort of practice or understanding about the shunyata that really affects that. And to some extent, I myself, my daily practice, I always say, thinking the shunyata, Panchaparamita, as much as I can. Last now, I think since I developed genuine interest about the shunyata, now over 60 years. So then, about 40 years ago, I developed some certain experience out of deeper understanding. Then I think last about more than 1 decade or about 2 decades, this is my understanding, even you say become deeper, that really affect significantly. Okay.
Hi, Dalai Lama. I would like to be a nurse or a doctor. Do you have any advice for a doctor?
Doctor, physician is actually a part of Bodhisattva's work or service to other people. Sick people, is it really, is it they facing some very, very difficult situation. So people who come to hospital. Nobody come to hospital for holiday, for picnic. Some kind of desperate situation come. So the doctor, you see, treated them with warm-heartedness, with sense of concern of their well-being, their life. That, I think, tremendous sort of kasota, give it away. Gift like that. So wonderful. You are sort of thinking, you are sort of kasa.
So your intention to be a doctor is wonderful.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Hi, thanks for being here. I think in our generation, a lot of the youth have access to so many things like information, and we're struggling with binaries like culture, being Vietnamese and being American, and having an interest in science and humanities, things like that. So how do you focus on something and find what is important and what is, a passion or just something to focus on?
Say the question again,
How do you find the one thing that you can focus on when there's so much information and binaries in the world?
That's, I think, entirely depend on individual interest. I think the demarcation, American or Asian or European or Asian, is not important. Therefore, I always say emphasis, 7 billion human beings are same human being. The different nationality, different color, different races, or Asian, Westerner, African, or like that, these are secondary level of differences. So now many problems, you see, comes or develop on the secondary level of differences. You see, on the basis of religious faith, we, they, the nationality, we and they. That's really a lot of trouble, you see, develop on too much emphasis on that. So the countermeasure is we must go deeper level, human level, then we are same. That's very important. Then your own, the science
versus humanities.
Or some other field, that's up to you. Humanity need variety of education and what's it, profession.
Varieties of professions.
So then, up to you. Firstly, you try to know more different subject. Then think. Then finally, you feel, this subject, I have some keen interest and can be expert in that particular subject. Then decide. Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, Dalai Lama. My name is Ethan. I guess my question is, with all the violence that's been happening in the world, how can youth, engage and bring about peace and love? Especially what's happened recently with there was a big mass murder in Orlando, and then it's happening a lot right now, gun violence. How can individual youth approach this violence and create better loving trust and peace between others?
Recently, I met one group of youth from Middle East and some African country. So these youth, when they introduce their individual sort of background, some of them on the spot when some sort of explosion, dying, or that very moment they develop some kind of enthusiasm or determination. We must work for peace. So I really very much impressed. So like that, now, as I mentioned before, our only hope is younger generation. Older people, their mental thinking more or less fixed. And the way of thinking is a very much sort of, because of the similar way of thinking in 20th century. You see, too much sort of, because of emphasis, we and they. And whenever you see some disagreement come, then sort of easily or automatically feel how to solve this by force. That's old thinking, 20th century's thinking. The world reality much changed. Now Eastern sort of future depend on the West. Western future depend on East. Similarly, South and the North. So now the reality, whole world is just one entity. Everything interconnected. So according to that reality, the old thinking, too much emphasis, we and they, and use violence, destroy other, that outdated, old way of thinking. So the young people say now have to think how to change now that. The change not through prayer. I think Buddha, over 2,000 years, Buddha there. But I think anyway, Buddha failed to bring more peaceful world. Now we ourselves make effort, you see, to build peace through inner peace. Old thinking, outdated, these tell people this outdated thinking. Now we must act according to today's reality. Now there are really big gap. The people, particularly leaders of the way of thinking, and the reality, there is a real gap. That's my view. Maybe wrong. What do you think? Is correct or wrong?
I think that we really need to think about moving past our differences to the past where nationalism has failed, actually, people thinking themselves as part of one nation rather than as global citizens. And youth need to actually overcome that whole notion that it's us versus them. That's where violence comes from, is like being afraid of people's differences and always, shooting first. Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Your Holiness, thank you for coming. Please come back. Please come back. Please pray for all of us. I think we'd all be very interested to hear if you have a prediction or a perspective on the upcoming presidential election.
Prediction. I think best thing is I should be neutral. This is American politics. American people should think with calm mind, should not too much excited. That's my view.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi. What advice would you give to those who want to care and give and have more compassion around those who don't have so much of caring and compassion?
Now I want to share with you, I think the last few years, since I have serious discussion with scientists, I think this morning I mentioned, last I think a few years, some occasion, the scientists, they stated out of their sort of the investigation, what is the reaction of very, very young infant, about 5-6 months old, language not yet developed. So it's just some picture, one picture, two young children play together, very sort of the friendly attitude, smiling. Another sort of picture, it's two young children, negative attitude, one another. So then, when the very, very young infant sort of child, when the first picture showed to that child smiling, I also noticed, I also saw. Then second picture shows that the infant young child sort of express more unhappiness. And then more important, constant fear, constant anger happen. Our immune system actually reduce. So more compassionate mind is very, very helpful to our health. Constant anger, very harmful for our health. So conclusion is, basic human nature is more compassionate. And obviously, we all 7 billion human beings come from their mother. So we 7 billion human beings, including those terrorists or troublemaker, they also come from their mother and received immense affection from their mother. Without that, they can't survive. That's fact. So therefore, basic human nature is more positive, more compassionate. That is really our hope. If basic human nature is anger, then no hope. But basic human nature is more compassionate. Therefore, you see, there is real hope. Now the important thing is existing education system. Our existing education system is very much emphasis or oriented about material value, external value, lacking about our inner value. So when the inner value, such as compassion, forgiveness, you see, these topic comes, then we usually rely on religious belief. So that's not adequate now. Out of 7 billion human beings, over 1 billion non-believer. And then among the believer also, some quite mischievous believer also there. The last few days I mentioned, you see, sometimes we say, my religion. Then me more superior, then religion is a disposal of that me. So me more sort of the other sort of emotion, as we already discussed, the division, we and they. With that strong sort of conviction, that me, we, something superior, then religion, then exploit religion. So therefore, these clearly shows among the believer lacking real conviction about the value of love, value of compassion, forgiveness. So therefore, the education should include the education about warm-heartedness, not based on religious belief, but scientific findings and common sense, common experience. We already working the curriculum about moral ethics, which can be fit in the secular education field. So I think within the next few months, we may be ready
to share the curriculum.
to finalize that draft. And then we can carry as a sort of experiment, pilot or experiment, like that. So that's my view.
Thank you.
Hello, Dalai Lama. Thank you for being here today. I just had a question because you're the Dalai Lama and you're such an influential person. I was wondering if you had any advice on how to stay humble as a young person.
I think, according to my own experience, if I sort of too much emphasis about formality and the feeling I'm or emphasis on position and formality, then more sort of unnecessary problems. When I sort of consider myself as one of you, one of the 7 million human beings, then my own sort of way of thinking, my behavior, then so
it becomes easy.
that also I think one factor for humbleness,
For humility.
or if you emphasize I'm something special, then actually you see you yourself. I many occasions some sort of important person, they consider their position is something very important. So you see they acting accordingly. So unnecessary sort of the difficulties like that. So therefore, I saw one picture in I think the 1940s or 40s, 50s. One American magazine, Life magazine, one picture, the Queen of England and her husband Philip. I think some sort of independent ceremony, one I think African or country, I think African. So Queen, you see, reading some speech, Philip beside her. Then wind blow her garment as a skirt. But still, you see, the Philip still remain like that. And then Mexico, one occasion you see, interfaith meeting, one Japanese Buddhist and some other sort of representative of different sort of religions. So the Japanese will say, as usual, when they carry some prayer, you see, they usually do this like that. So then somehow, you see, his sting of his rosary broken. So they beat, scattered, but he still remained like that. Nothing happened. I much prefer pick up those rosary like that. So therefore, you see, too much formality is a source of additional problem. And also barrier. If you act as another human being, then their side also much easier to act that way. Then the human to human sort of relation then come. Too much formality, I don't like. Okay.
Thank you.
Hello.
Oh, your voice. Oh.
I love you. Yeah, so I've been to jail before, and and that was because I was trespassing at a school. And what I learned in jail was a lot about your teachings, like compassion and like love, and like, because there's a lot of violence in there. And I felt like, dude, it's like crazy. And when I was in there, it was like, there were so many lessons about like what you're teaching, and I viscerally like felt it inside of me. And like my ability to just be able to like do things like this, like be able to like go in front of like stages around like people and like speak my mind, like these teachings are just so amazing, and I just want to share that. I love you, Dalai Lama. I love you. I love your hair. Yeah. And you want to be in my YouTube video? Yeah.
That's right.
Say that again.
Do you want to be in my YouTube video?
Okay, that's up to you. Okay. No problems.
I love you. All right. Yay. Whoa. Yay. Hello. All right. So what we're going to be talking about today is compassion, and being able to show compassion towards every single human being, no matter what kind of human being that you are, because we are all the same.
Yes.
All 7 billion human beings, all from the mom, because the compassion that emanates from us is so visceral and so exciting, and it makes you feel so fulfilled every single kind of day. So, yeah.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I love your voice. I think if you are amongst some monks in monastery, you will be chanting master.
Chant master.
Good.
Hi, Dalai Lama. My question is, with everything that's going on in the world, how do we keep that hope, that center hope? How do we know how to balance spiritual practice with actually doing something in the world and creating change and doing physical work? How do we know that balance?
I think, firstly, you pay some attention, study about sort of system of our emotion, our mind. Usually I call the science of mind, or another word, map of emotion. That I think important. Once you have some sort of knowledge about the system of emotion, then when we come across some sort of challenges come, then already you have some sort of knowledge how to tackle these things. Then ultimately, the real meaning of compassion is serving other people, helping other people. As much as you can serve other people, then at least, if not, at least restrain harming other. That's the practice of compassion. So real practitioner of compassion or not, can judge only through action. Okay. Thank you.
Hello, Dalai Lama. Thank you so much for being here.
God.
We love the sound of your laughter. I think everyone agrees. It has been said that you will be the last reincarnation. Do you think this will be the case? And if so, what will happen afterwards? Do you think there will be a spiritual gap to fill?
You know, Buddha's teaching now last 2,600 years. But his teaching held by individual practitioner or scholars. So not depend on one individual leader or something. So as a matter of fact, I feel like a Dalai Lama institution You see, these institutions, I think some impact from the society, the feudal system. So feudal system now outdated. So some institution, including Dalai Lama institution, last I think about 600 years. Right? 600 years. Let's say one occasion it come. It's something very, very important matter for Buddhist tradition. No. Buddha Dharma. No. Now, for example, today, among the younger generation, among Tibetan, who already carrying a rigorous study about 15, 20 years. So among the younger generation who become good scholar, young age, and genuine spiritual minded people. So these people will carry the Buddha's sort of teaching continuously. Whether Dharma institution or whether Dharma institution there or not, something different. There's some people you see, have the impression Dharma institution is so important for Tibetan Buddhist tradition. No, this is wrong. This is my view. And actually, as early as 1969, one of my formal sort of statement, official statement, I mentioned whether Dharma institution should continue or not up to Tibetan people. So sometimes I feel Chinese communists, they have more serious concern about Dharma institution than myself. I have no serious concern. Okay.
Hello, Bhante. My name is Charles. I have a very quick question about motivation. I know motivation is very important for Buddhist practice. And if you're someone lazy like I am, how would you help to generate good motivation?
Now, me also, when I carry study, teenage,
In my teenage years,
I'm very, very lazy. Actually, at that time, I have no interest for practice or to learning like that. Then gradually, yes, interest develop. Then more development of serious interest. Then enthusiasm come. Then practice more seriously. And for that, again, knowledge is very important. Of course, all major religious tradition teach us compassion, forgiveness. Now these things, how much valuable in our daily life when we more sort of conviction about these value, then enthusiasm come to practice. So firstly, I think knowledge is, I think very, very important, particularly as far as Buddhism is concerned. Faith, a part of Buddhism, but real thing is because of the understanding. That's very, very important. So Buddha himself, you see, stated, "Oh, my follower, monks, scholars should not accept my teaching out of faith, devotion, but rather thorough investigation and experiment." So therefore, in Buddhism in general, particularly Nalanda tradition, use reason, experiment is very, very essential. In order to carry experiment and investigation, you should know more knowledge. Then you can investigate, you can use Kasuda, reasons like that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Danielle Yan. I'm from Taiwan. I'm new in Los Angeles for 2 months. And you will always be my idol and Angelina Jolie. My dreams become the actress in Hollywood, forget the best actress in the future and to become someone like you, influence the world. And can you give me any advice to how to overcome the most difficult career in the world? And the second question will be, the second one would be, I have one friend, he drove your portrait. I would like to hang as a gift to you, if that's possible.
That's difficult to say. I don't know. But I think depend the very nature of your work. If the work is something sort of beneficial to public, then no matter how difficult it is, you have to make effort. Then the work and for me, sports, particularly the motor josun, there's a solid on Rudua. Motor josun,
especially the race car drivers, they almost give up their life in order to win.
This I see no interest. And I think Muhammad Ali, I know him. I consider my a good friend. So that sort of was his profession. Long run, I think very harmful for his own physical condition. Then later, you see, he remained like that. So such sort of profession.
Then you don't really, His Holiness was saying that he doesn't quite see the point of working so hard.
So that's depend on what kind of nature, what nature of your profession. It's something really beneficial to people, to public, then no matter how difficult it is, you have to work. If not that much, then up to you, take more, relax, holiday or rest like that. That's my feeling. Of course, up to you. You have to judge. Okay.
And can I hang in the painting for you as a gift? And that's the friend is Ali's friend as well. And he's the peace fighter, and he's drawing the portrait for you for the whole night. And hopefully, I can give you the gift.
Okay. Oh, I see that one. Thank you. Yes.
Good evening. Me and my sister have two separate questions. Mine is, when you were little, what did you want to be instead of a Buddhist? Good evening. How did you become famous?
When people choose me as a Dalai Lama, then my age about I think 3-4 years old. So then there's not my choice, not much choice like that. And then eventually, you say, I found this name of Dalai Lama can be useful to serve other people like that. So then, say I use this name because of that.
As a vehicle to benefit others.
So like that. Come here. When I was young, your body very strong body. Oh. Okay. Digital 그래. Digital. Oh. Okay, 이제.
Thank you for listening.
되게 좋으디. 내가 좀 잘해줬어요, 그래.
The second question was, how did you become so famous? And His Holiness's response was, his fame was made by others.
Thank you. Now completed. Thank you.